Hi there. In this narrated PowerPoint, we're going to explore Chapter 3, focusing on marketing information systems and marketing research. If you really want to get into the details of this chapter, besides reading the Chapter 3 in Kellogg and Kohler, you want to then download the publisher's PowerPoints that I've listed in the assignment set module number 1. No proof that Henry Ford said this, but if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. Now, how might you interpret this statement? One interpretation might be that while our customers may know their needs and wants, they may not be able to comprehend the methods to satisfy those needs and wants. You might also presume that companies themselves may not know what business they are in, as Theodore Levitt asked in his seminal 1960 article, Marketing Myopia. And I bring that into the forefront. I'm sure you have read this if you're any kind of student of marketing. It's mandatory reading for all serious business students. He explains many of the examples of how companies basically screwed up by getting too myopic or narrow-minded in terms of what their business really is. One of his examples is how the railroads failed because they thought of themselves as product-oriented railroads instead of customer-oriented transportation. And I don't know if, for those of you that are around Northwest Ohio, there's a series of canals that, of course, no longer exist except for recreational purposes. And it's interesting how those canals probably could have existed in another way than they did by thinking themselves as more transportation as opposed to just a boat that is dragged along by a couple mules. Because right now people are really pining for nostalgic things, and these canals, when they do have some sort of attraction, are always packed with people wanting to, figure out what it was like 200 years ago. But it's interesting about the canals because even as they were being built, the railroads are starting to come along. So they was basically building themselves into obsolescence. But again, they did not think of themselves as anything broader than what they really were. Well, the implication from this article and what Henry Ford said is, of course, that companies need solid data from both internal and external sources to satisfy existing and future customer needs, and as well as stay in business. So this figure shows the interaction among information users, both internal and external. Marketing research is a major data source upon which pivotal marketing mix decisions are made. I'm not sure how many people have actually done true marketing research. Most of us have been part of something where we're asked to fill out a survey or questionnaire, or maybe we're stopped in a mall and someone says, drink this or taste this, or what do you think about this particular candidate? So, and I've been part of several, both on the receiving as well as the giving end myself. And I happen to have my letters, my PhD, which in my case, I had to write a 300 to 400 word dissertation, very quantitative in nature. And it went through this type of research process. So most organizations perform some kind of marketing research. even if they garner the data from internal sources only, kind of like Apple. But think about Henry and the Faster Horse. They need to get better perspectives than perhaps an obvious one. So the things on this slide you're looking at, defining the problem, what do you want to accomplish is a critical step. Will a flavored beer bode well with boomers? Has the addition of a fitness center at a La Quinta hotel improve customer satisfaction? And so on. As I said, with my dissertation, I had several research questions and hypotheses to back them up. And just give me a couple here from my actual dissertation achievement. Do differences exist relative to student learning when a business course is taught incorporating popular culture versus one taught without incorporating popular culture? And my hypothesis I wanted to prove, students exposed to a business course taught incorporating popular culture will score higher on multiple choice tests than those exposed to one taught without incorporating popular culture. So you see how specific this is, straightforward, and believe it or not, these questions are not easy to come up with. You have to do them several times to make sure you're looking for exactly what you want, and that's it depends on a dissertation, or you're trying to find, like I said, if a flavored beer will work good with people of a certain age, or a certain hair color might work well with girls of a certain age. The three principal types of research are exploratory, which is looking for potential, open-ended, pie-in-the-sky type of things. Descriptive, which is the most common. You're trying to define an opinion, attitude, and lead to quantitative analysis. Or causal, if I do this, what will happen? Excuse me. And you can see there are many types of tools and techniques available to make this happen. What do you want to accomplish? So I'm going to show you a little video, fun stuff, from The Simpsons, and see how many tools and techniques are exhibited. So what you're looking for is the research process, where you're observing people, a focus group, survey, what the instruments are used, whether it's questionnaires, technological devices, the sampling plan, how many people, what's the sample size, how many, the sampling procedure, and the contact methods. Okay, so let's watch a little funzo, and then we'll see what you come up with.
¿Dónde está Justice?
El Ford Escort que me vendió es un limón.
No es un limón. Es un carro fuerte. Limón fuerte, limón fuerte, limón. ¡Ay, mi estómago!
Oh, daytime TV is muy estúpido. Hey, our school's on TV.
Springfield Elementary has reopened its doors. I'm with Jim Hope of Kid First Industries, which has generously stepped in to educate our children.
That's right, Kent. You know, when public schools drop the ball, it's up to the private sector to fall on that fumble and run for the end zone.
Will you be replacing the current teachers and administrators?
Very much so, Kent. But they've already received an extremely generous severance package.
Valencia? These are juice oranges.
Howdy, children. I'd like to welcome you back to school. You know what? I agree.
What?
Your old school was boring. That's why it failed, right? Well, we're not going to make you memorize facts and dates. No. I'm going to find out what you really love in life and teach to that. What are you passionate about, partner?
Boogers.
Buggers! That was great. You know, humor is a sign of intelligence.
You're not mad?
Hey, I'm here to make sure that you get a kick out of education.
He's rekindled my love affair with books.
Check it out. I'm breaking books at a 6th grade level.
Get him, boy. Hit those smart-ass books.
Why don't you kick some books, Lisa?
Bart broke all my books. You know what our homework is? Find a toy and bring it to class.
Boy, that sounds fun.
I know, but I'm still not going to do it.
Since Christmas is coming soon, I thought we could talk about our favorite toys. Millhouse, what have you got there?
My busy box. It's got everything. Vroom, vroom, vroom. I'm calling Daddy.
Good for you, not being bound by the recommended age.
What are you talking about? Oh, jeez.
How about the rest of you? What do you like about those toys of yours?
They're special.
They're challenging.
Very good. Now I want you all to imagine the perfect toy. What would it be like?
It should be soft and cuddly. Yeah, with lots of firepower.
Its eyes should be telescopes. No, periscopes. No, microscopes. Can you come back to me? It should be full of surprises. It should never stop dancing. It should need accessories.
Now that's market research you can take to the bank. The money bank.
I just wish those second graders would stop jerking us around.
Fun toys are fun.
Well said, Ralph. But we're trying to come up with a name for a toy.
Mrs. Fun?
Not bad.
Fun?
Ralph, there are no right or wrong answers, but if you don't pipe down, I'm giving you an F.
The before teacher yelled at me, too.
No one's yelling. We're just brainstorming names. Lisa, any ideas?
Oh, name with fun? Fungus? Funzo? Attila the Fun?
Lisa, are you doing math?
Just a few Venn diagrams.
There's more under her chair.
Lisa in trouble, huh? The ironing is delicious.
The word is irony.
Huh?
Don't you think there's something weird going on here? We spent all day selecting fabric swatches, and then our guest speaker was Phil from marketing.
Alls I know is I'm getting straight A's, and that ain't not bad.
That's not funny!
Huh?
They're spying on us. Why would they do that?
I see you. Give me a hug.
Okay, well, as you can see by that, there are many, many different tools used in there. Obviously, they're being observed. They're kind of a focus group. There are sampling size of convenience, basically the classroom. They're given questions, not necessarily questionnaires, but they were observed. And the contact methods were in person. So yes, in this particular case, it was definitely a good example of how research is done, even though it was a little bit of fun stuff. Here's an example of an actual survey that was done several years ago, 2016, for a particular political race. Of course, it was Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump. But what I'd like you to look at is the techniques that they use to poll specific people with a sample. They have scripts, specific questions, and depending on the response they get, they'll kind of like an if-then statement, they'll go into another particular question. If definitely vote, if already voted, and so on. And then, of course, they come up with the sample sizes and all this. Now, I don't know if you recall from your statistic days or marketing research days, the idea of a margin of error, the MOE. So just to refresh your memory, the margin of error percentage, it'll tell you the percentage points your result will differ from the real population value. Again, this is a sample, not a population. That's what we do. It's almost impossible to do a population. For example, a 95% confidence interval with a 4% margin of error means that your statistic will be within 4 percentage points of the real population 95% of the time. Okay, so obviously nothing's, unless you do the entire population, you're not going to have a perfect result, but it's better than nothing. Okay. As you know, the steps covered in the last slide incorporates a process called primary research, a less expensive approach that sometimes is used before and in complement to primary techniques is secondary research. And you can see in this slide, it's readily available in many different sources, and it's relatively inexpensive, if not free. The main problem, of course, is that it may not get to the root of the research problem. Therefore, primary research is warranted. In my particular case, I could not have done my research without conducting quasi-experiments with several classes. Why? Because the data or the information I could not get from secondary research. The census is an unbelievable source of data. The challenge is knowing how to use it. Now, this is a quick facts that I just put up for the state of Ohio. And if I were to put in, let's say, Wood County, or let's just say Bowling Green, how about that? Ohio. And then it gives me all the topics I want. If I wanted to narrow it down to, let's say, age and sex, there's a certain percentage of people that are here. It looks like in Bowling Green, 52% of the population is female. Only 9% is 65 and over. 13% is 18, under 18, and so on. And it compares it with Ohio. And it gives you some additional information down here. I wanted to look at population of blacks in Bowling Green. There's only 6% too, but in the state it's 13% too. And then they have other minorities listed down here as well. So the fact is, you can probably do a lot with this depending on what you were trying to do, but you're probably going to have to use primary research if you want to get hit a specific a research problem. From the ancient Greek, meaning the study of analysis, analytics is a combination of tools that do provide perspectives for a wide range of disciplines. I'm sure most of you have either studied or used these tools. Google Analytics is a popular tool that tracks many different data points. This is a sample of Google Analytics. I'm sure most of you have, like I said, experimented with it or maybe use it in your jobs. It just gives you all kind of real-time data and a myriad of different data points, different ways you can query the information, and so on. What I'm showing you now is an old Clinton versus Trump general election, but it looks like there's information. This is from Bloomberg, and it looks at different polls, which requires analytic knowledge to not only run the polls, but somehow interpret the data in a way that most people can understand it. And as I've grown older, and because of recent events, my interest in politics has never been stronger. I'd love to look at these different polls and the mechanics behind them. And analytics plays a huge role in gaining insights as the races are progressing, and importantly, gives clues to how the candidates may change their campaign strategies. Look, after all, they are selling themselves, right? So they can look at the polls, they can look at what the different things people are interested in, what they've done, what they didn't do well, and then make adjustments on the fly. I want to finish this narrated PowerPoint with, I guess, a statement of warning. Not all research, even primary, gives you the correct direction to take. The story of New Coke is legendary, and although taste tests conducted did accurately show that people will choose the sweetest sample when blindfolded, Coke's strategy to introduce a new formula and drop the classic product proved disastrous. This is a great article, which I have in the assignment set 1 module, as well as a ton of other stuff related to Coca-Cola. For this particular class, online class, I'm not going to get much into it, but I strongly suggest you at least read this very short article about Harold Burson and his role that he played with Goizeta in establishing this new Coke. And it's kind of a funny article, actually, but it's a very, very quick read. I also have other articles about Coke and Pepsi, as well as a bunch of pictures I took a couple years ago when I went down to Atlanta with my family of the world of Coca-Cola. A very fascinating place. I know it's corporate, but still, it's very, very interesting to take a look at the history behind it and all the fun stuff they have. And if you have some time, I would also encourage you to read Cola Wars, that is in the Hartley and Claycomb Marketing Mistakes book. Very interesting perspective from a long time ago, and it gives you really good historical insight into both companies and how they battled, and the idea of New Coke, and how Pepsi kind of overtook them, but quickly fell back on their face, and so on. So it's just it just kind of broaden your horizon to this. Okay, well, that's it. We talked about marketing intelligence systems. We spent the majority of the time on marketing research and a lot of the techniques behind that, and trials and tribulations of such. Take care.